we need you guys on the phone right now. We're in the middle of something. I was kind of nervous.
I was like, I'm in trouble.
I thought it was bad. I thought we were getting canceled.
Charli D'Amelio and her mom, Heidi, have been on a rocket ship ever since Charli posted her first TikTok in March 2019.
It's definitely something that I never expected to happen.
Since then, she's amassed over 147 million followers on TikTok and become the platform's undisputed queen.
I was like, that's it, I'm famous. Don't talk to me.
In this week's episode, Charli speaks openly about anxiety.
I mean, people started to notice it when I was in, third grade?
Juggling business ventures.
The Morphe 2 line, which then led to Born Dreamer.
And managing her personal life while being one of the world's most recognizable people.
It can be great when it's just one-on-one, but then maybe you're out and about and you're like, this person isn't who I think they were.
Is there any place you can go in this world where there's just not like big groups of fans like running after you at this point? Or
honestly, it's a lot easier to find places where people don't know me if I just go to places where the people are a little bit older. That's kind of my go-to thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it just depends on what I'm doing and who I'm with or what I'm wearing. If I'm wearing like a hoodie, people probably won't know it's me.
Yeah, you got a hoodie on, eyeglasses, mask. You can always see your eyes.
But no matter what time of day or what day of the week, and she could be in hoodie, mask, sweatpants,
sunglasses.
People in their cars driving by are spotting her. I'm
yeah,
like, I can barely tell who this is. How do you see? I think I don't know what it is, but they spot her.
I have a question for both of you that hopefully will be interesting for our audience as well. What is something about what life was like before that you miss? And what is something that life is like today that you love? So it's almost like, what's something that you're like, I miss being able to do that, but now it's like, because of my new life, I love being able to do this for both of you.
I feel like I miss living close to my hometown friends. It was just so much easier before, but now they're all going to college, so they're all far away in their own sense. But I love the fact that I've gotten to find so many new friends in LA and all around. It's just been very interesting to see so many different types of people that do so many different things and get to relate in unexpected ways and unexpected friendships that all just very teenagery people vibes. But it makes it super fun to just go out and try to make new friends.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is because all of this happened with our family. I miss that mom role I had of, breakfast, cooking dinners, driving to dance or field hockey with the girls. I miss that, where we were and being so close to New York City. Like, I do miss that.
Yeah. And what do you love about?
I love living in California. I love the weather.
Yes.
Being
same.
from Louisiana, I did not grow up with seasons. And so after being in the Northeast for so long in the winters, I was ready for some sunshine. So I do love living here. And Mark and I are just, now that we're empty nesters, like exploring, doing California things, which we haven't done yet. So
I love that.
I could definitely relate to what you're saying about like missing the friendship aspect, especially because I grew up in Northern California. And so I came to SoCal about like 8 years ago. And, I like to call myself like sort of a big nerd growing up. And so I didn't have a lot of friends. There weren't like a lot of people that wanted to hang out with me. No one was asking for my number or what I was doing on the weekend, And then I would say over the past few years, my life has changed a lot, right? With like getting success and, some social media followers and such. So I was just at a family barbecue last weekend for my nephew's birthday. I flew to NorCal, and there was a lot of friends that I hadn't seen, like quote unquote friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time that I grew up with. A lot of people never gave me the time of day, like I was just not that interesting of a person for them to talk to. But suddenly it's like, Dhar, it's so good to see you, bro. Like, I missed you, man. My kids, they watch your stuff. And then, it's like, let's exchange numbers. Let's hang out. What are you doing this with? So it almost becomes a little bit hard as to how do you differentiate people that love you for you versus now sort of seeing you right through this social media lens, and then also trying to build a relationship possibly for some motives, right? So I'm sure it becomes more and more challenging to build those authentic friendships. And then I can't imagine also from a mom perspective, like there must be so many things that you might be able to see, right? That maybe like kids obviously have to learn everything for themselves and see things on their own, but it's just a natural parental instinct to want to protect them from certain things. So how do you balance that as to what you feel is best for your kids as a mom versus what they want to do and their own free will?
The girls have such this instinct on that I really have nothing to offer them. They just feel it. Since all of this started, they were not so much about, oh, let's make videos. Like they want to meet people and like, let's get together, let's get to know each other before we just throw a camera in like make a video and then go separate ways. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but that's what I've noticed. And they just get so turned off by people that do that. And there's a lot of people that do that. And I think they've just kind of like have their circle. You know, they expand here and there, but they know when they're walking into something like what the expectations are going to be for the other people. So they just kind of react accordingly. That's what I've seen. I don't really have a lot to offer in that department. They're just really,
wow, I love that.
They're just like, I think they've maybe kind of always been that way. Just want like real good friends.
Yeah.
And so, you know.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I have a lot of different types of friends. I have my hometown school friends that I don't talk to every single day, but they were just out here the other week and they stayed at my house and it was super fun. And I got to really spend a lot of time with them before they all went off to college. And my hometown dance best friend, she literally just sent me her address at her college dorm so I can go visit. It's like things like that are just so special. And throughout all of this, they knew me before, they know me now, and they have never treated me any differently. And they're just really genuine people that I don't have to talk to every day, but I know the second I see them, it's like no time has passed. And that's something that's really nice. And I cherish a lot about those friendships. And then I have a lot of the friendships out here where it can kind of go either way. Maybe they're new friends that I'm just now getting to know a little bit better, or people that I've become really, really close to, or people that are just mutual friends and I see when I go out and maybe I don't know too much about them or I text them once every few weeks, but it's kind of just, you have to have those close people that you know are going to be there no matter what happens in your career. And then you also need to be able to have friends that you can just see when you go out, or friendships that never make it online. Like there's so many people that I'm friends with that no one knows that I'm friends with them. And that's kind of nice. It's like a little secret where I really get to have something for myself. And usually that's like social media in some way, but obviously that's not what it is for me anymore. So it's kind of just taking those special friendships and keeping them your own.
Yeah, I always say to people that I'm like, I feel I have a really good public life, but I have an even better private life.
Yeah.
And I always have so much joy in that because I think there's so many beautiful things that happen behind the scenes that are special because no one ever sees them or knows about them. When your mom's saying that you have this sense, which is amazing to hear that from your mother, it must feel wonderful to hear that from her as well. What is it that you think you look for when you are making new friends? Like what has been, and I ask that because I think there are so many young people that are going to be listening and watching to this podcast and this show.
Thinking, how can I be friends with Charli?
Yeah, exactly. What do I need to do next time I see it? No, but genuinely, because I feel like making friends, no matter what age you are, is one of the most difficult things to add to that success and fame and whatever it may be. It just makes it harder. And at the end of the day, all we're all looking for is relationships and friendships. So what is that sense that Heidi spoke about? What is that for you, or what is it that you focus on?
Yeah, I think it's something that every day I'm learning more about. It was obviously a little bit more difficult in the beginning because all of these awesome people want to be your friend. And yeah, I want to be your friend too. But then realizing that you want to keep people close that are going to be honest with you, that are loyal to you, even when things maybe aren't going your way. And people that you share similar morals with, and people that you can really talk to and relate to, and maybe you don't have hobbies in common, but you both are, it's really important to you that these people are nice to others and how they treat others. I think that's something that's incredibly important to making friends, because it can be great when it's just one-on-one, but then maybe you're out and about and you're like, this person isn't who I think they were. And it's just a lot of things like that that I feel like are important to me. But just keeping in mind, not always having your guard up, but keeping in mind that you need to make sure that this person respects you as much as you respect yourself.
I wanted to go backwards a bit, because one thing I've really thought about when I've even watched a career from afar, and I consider myself someone who loves to study people who have created something, who've achieved something. And I think when I look at your success through dance, it's like you're a phenomenal dancer, right? So there's TikTok and the dancers that win on TikTok that have been successful for a long time. And then there's the art of dance, which, you know, has been around forever and has this amazing ability to it. Heidi, could you tell us a bit about like when you started taking Charli to classes or dance, and how did that all start off? And what were some of those experiences early on? Is this a talent that you always had? Was this something that, you know, you it was always a positive feedback when she got home? Or like, how did that passion start?
From two guys that can't dance.
Yes, they're both kind of.
And is it too late for us to start?
Never. Yeah. So being from the South, like I grew up a competition dancer. My sisters were all on our dance teams in high school.
Amazing.
My mom was a very, very good social dancer, just not like classes. I think generally in the South, like there's music everywhere you go, there's bands everywhere. So you grow up dancing. So between that and sports, that's what I did. And then when we would go to Louisiana to visit family, like that's all they saw. We were always going to a dance recital or a football game, and they're dancing at halftime or whatever. I had to wait till she was potty trained to put her in, because she was like wanted in before that. She would see her cousins do it, and she was like, you know, wanted to do that too. So they would give her their hand-me-down dance costumes from their recitals, and she would play around at home. And so as soon as she was potty trained, we put her in. Well, it was like bad timing, so she had to wait a little bit. But anyway.
Charlie's like, I shouldn't have brought my mom on this podcast.
So true. Everybody who's taken dance class lessons or tried to sign their kids up, no, they have to be potty trained. So she just was always dancing, like when she could pull herself up and the music and like moving. So she started taking classes and she just loved it. I mean, she loved it. It was everybody who knew her knew how much she loved it. But she did have this thing about her when she was little, 3 or 4. We would go somewhere, there would be music playing, and she would cry because she wanted to dance, but she didn't want people to watch her. And this, I don't even know if you remember this. This went on, like how many times she would be hysterically crying. Can we go to the bathroom? Crying like, I just really like the music, but I don't want people to watch me dance. Wow. I'm like, we're in a restaurant. Like, I can't ask them to leave. Like, I don't know. And she would just get so torn up over that. Like, it was so driving her, but like also her own, she's a shy person. Like, she always has kind of been that way until she's comfortable with the people around her. So it was always hard. And then I remember her finally getting to that part where she just didn't care. And I think we were in the Bahamas and they had a DJ in this little open area, and she was up there by herself. I think she was 5. And the DJ was like, what do you want me to play next? Like, there was a crowd, like 7 deep, all the way around this massive stage. And people were like, and there was one woman from LA, she was like, I want to sign her. I'm like, to do what? Like, I don't know. We're just on vacation. Like, so she was definitely like, always people would just surprised how, and that was just freestyling. Like, that was her thing. And so she's just always, and then she got into competing, which, you know, I think gave her, after doing that for so many years, I think it just kind of laid the groundwork for this work ethic. Anybody that is a competition dancer knows what it takes. And just being organized and being able to use her time wisely between school and dance and homework and trying to like juggle all of that. I think that prepared her a lot for her life now.
How many hours would you say that she's invested in dancing over it?
When we started competing, you were 5, probably 4 nights a week for like a couple hours. And then it got more and more as the years went on. Wow. And then she just wanted to be at the studio. She was like, can you just bring me? I'm like, but you have no classes. She was like, I just want to go. So she would like help the younger classes, or sometimes she'd babysit the owner's son. Like, she just wanted to be there. And then when I'd pick her up at night, she was sweeping and like she just didn't want to leave. It was just a really good place for her when outside of that wasn't always great at school. So I think she felt good and safe and loved and happy there.
You said something about how like dance was this safer place than whatever you're going through at school. We actually had Markel on recently.
He loves you both so much.
He was talking so highly of you guys, by the way.
Changed his life, yeah.
And he was saying how, he got into dance because his father passed away when he was in high school. And then his mom got incarcerated like the year or two after. And so he was dealing with all these different struggles. And so dance kind of became his outlet. So what were some of the challenges that you were dealing with in school that dance helped you escape from?
I have had a lot of issues with anxiety, and I mean, people started to notice it when I was in third grade, and that was something that I kind of dealt with my whole life. And on top of that, now since kind of like talking to someone, I've realized that there's a lot of other things that were going on that I didn't really understand how they were affecting me until I now understand. Like someone that has OCD, that is also perfectionism, that's really hard on yourself when you're very young and you're growing up and you're trying to figure out who you are and wanting to be this perfect version of yourself and just always being disappointed. I feel like that was something I struggled with for a really long time. Wow. Throughout elementary school, I think that was when I really started to experience people being mean, I guess. It was a lot from moms, which was really hard to deal with because these are grown adults talking to a 9-year-old. And I just remember, honestly, some of it was about dance, which I think was kind of funny because I did hip hop. They were like, my daughter would never, like, she can't be friends with someone that does this. And the kid would come up to me and be like, my mom says I can't be friends with you because you do hip hop and that's bad. And I would just be like, what? I didn't know what was going on, but it was so difficult. I moved schools in the middle of elementary school and going to a new school and being surrounded by people that were already all friends and being the new kid. And that was tough on me. And I finally found a friend, and then my teacher told me I couldn't be friends with them. And that was like horrible. It was another new student, so that was not fun. But I, for a long time, just kind of kept quiet about things, and I would dance, and that would be my way to kind of get things out. And for a long time, that was the only way I really communicated or felt my emotions in any way. And that was difficult. Obviously, when you're young, you don't understand these feelings, but I was having really bad panic attacks and what was I like at that time? I feel like I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
Well, I would start like dropping her off at school, 6th, 7th grade, and the closer we get, she would start to get like a panic attack, and then she's hysterically crying and not getting out of the car. And I remember the principal would like open the door and like, you need to get out now. And it was kind of like, it was heart-wrenching. And it was like, as a parent, how much do I push? How do I just, it was by me just driving away with her, gonna help her. How do we get through this? Yeah. And so the whole day I'm a mess. And then I pick her up and she's like, oh my God, I had such a good day. And I'm like,
you're covered in sweat. Mom, did you get back from the gym? I've been in the car.
I'm so happy to hear that. And that would happen a lot. And it, I don't know, I have the mom guilt of like, I should have just not pushed her. How much more damage did I do by pushing her? Like, I've learned so much more about parenting kids with anxiety. I've learned from them. I feel like it's also more talked about now. Like, I'm always learning. They still have anxiety. I'm still learning. So that was tough. And then they moved schools, and I feel like that their environment was much more calm, and it was a smaller environment, and I don't know, it was just a different feeling. maybe not eighth grade.
High school.
Not eighth grade. Eighth grade was a little rough. But high school, once she got to ninth grade, I think everybody settled in and like there were a lot of new kids in ninth grade. So I think like that, I feel like I started to see the turn a little bit. And then 10th grade, all this happened.
Well, I wanted to thank you both for being so vulnerable and being so open with us, because I can tell that it's, it's not easy to talk about these things. But I also know that for everyone who's listening and watching, I'm sure they feel really comforted knowing they're not alone, right? I'm sure you, in your DMs, in your comments, you as well, I'm sure you see so many young people who are going through exactly that. And often, because it's so alienating, people walk away feeling so lonely and thinking like no one understands them, they can't talk to anyone, and they feel so lost. And I actually can relate to what you were saying about a lot of kids at school were told by their parents not to be friends with me because I had tattoos earlier than anyone. It was way before I was allowed. I used to listen to rap music and create music. And again, that was considered less than or not important and against the kind of schools I went into. And so a lot of my cousins were told not to spend time with me because I was the bad influence in the family. And so I remember feeling very outcast by the people that I was meant to be friends with, which only pushed me further away from them. It didn't make me want to change. It made me want to embrace this new culture that I was moving towards. And then it was only years later when I was introduced to spirituality and meditation and mindfulness that my life changed. But it's really interesting how people think by telling you, don't do that, that's the wrong thing, that's somehow gonna help you. And your vulnerability about mom guilt, I mean, I think that's so deeply powerful to even hear you say that, because even the acceptance that there's some role that you feel is so empowering, I think, as opposed to feeling like, I know a lot of people will say, well, I have nothing to do with it. Or, it's scary to admit that. So I just want to acknowledge just how powerful that is to even acknowledge that. But it's beautiful to see both of you seem like you've been doing a lot of reflection. I know both of you have been taking out time to figure yourselves out, understand who you are more. What's something recently that you've been doing that's really been helping you individually or collectively? And what's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself, or something interesting that you've learned about yourself?
I had a lot of trouble finding a good therapist for a long time. Now I talk to a life coach, which has been very helpful for me to kind of see my own progress throughout just talking to her. I mean, I don't even know how long I've been talking to her, but even now when I'll be like, oh, I don't even need to talk to her, like I'm fine, but I'll just get on the phone with her anyways and be like, okay, so this is what I'm going through right now. Like everything's good. I'm super happy, super healthy. Life's going great. And she's like, okay, but the way that you're talking about yourself and the people around you and everything, like that's so different from before. Like the way you speak about everything in your life is so much healthier, and kind of seeing that growth within myself, because had my fair share of really, really bad therapists. And this was something that was really eye-opening to me, because for a long time I was turned off of talking to anyone because of those bad experiences. And it took a lot to regain that power to be vulnerable to someone. And that's been very helpful with me.
I think for me, finding this new role as a mom to adults that still happily, I'm always happy to get their calls on the most random things. So I do feel like they're still kids in a lot of ways, but my approach has changed because I feel a little bit more like a consultant, because I can't, I could go to their house and be like, this is so messy, or this is this, and this is that. But that's not my house. It's not my stuff. It's not my place. They're going to figure it out. And I think that was really hard for a long time, even before she moved out, because she had such almost like this adult role in her life. No, she doesn't need me coming over the top with like, your room's a mess, blah, blah, blah. Like, we'll figure it out. That's the least of our worries right now.
Take my phone away.
Take your phone away. Yeah. So I think for me, just finding that balance as like a new way to parent young adult people. And I've been really working on that, because I think our relationship is super important. And I feel like the more I notice that I say less, the more they give.
Wow.
So I'm getting better at being a good listener. And well, Dixie kind of quite a few years ago said, I'm going to vent and I just want you to listen. Don't say anything. I don't want you to judge or give me advice or say anything or do anything. Just listen. And I was like, oh, I needed that. I needed to hear that. And because it would prevent her from coming to me. And so I've just been trying to be a better listener.
Oh.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love the dynamic, and I think, you know, it's all about trusting one another, being a good listener. As you said, not a lot of times, even when we're listening in conversations, we're almost just waiting for our chance to say what's been on our mind all the time, like all along during the course of conversation, versus people sometimes, you know, just want an outlet without that judgment or without waiting for you to try to give that perfect advice. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think that actually helped me a lot too. I'm going to go back and like really enforce that. What was the experience of like, you know, going viral, right? Like, since we're talking about that past, you know, back in the day, like when you first started going super viral, you first started experiencing like this success. When did you know that, you know, you were on to something massive? And then what's like an opportunity that came your way that you're most excited about?
It's happened so fast that it all kind of blends together. Opportunities coming so fast, but then also some things take years to come out. So it's always so confusing, you know, because I do so much normal stuff that doing things like this, it feels weird almost still, but I don't know. I feel like I just kind of wait to have that, whoa, this is my life now moment. And it just still hasn't happened yet. So as odd as it is for everyone looking in, it's equally as weird for me. But getting to have these opportunities, like the second time I won a Kids' Choice Award was the first time I ever accepted an award in front of an audience.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that was why you can see in the speech I kind of break down a little, because I've never been in that position before where these people are all cheering for me and they voted for me and they care about me. And that was such a surreal moment. That was one of the first times where I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because especially over COVID, all these people were like, we love you, we love you, we love you. I was like, who are these people? Where are they? There's no one around me right now except for my family. So it's definitely still now weird. I'll see someone like side-eyeing me and I'm like, oh, no, what's wrong? What am I doing? And they're like, oh my goodness, Charli, like, can I have a picture? And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's still definitely, I'm getting used to it. But those moments where I can have that one-on-one conversation with someone where they're like, I watched your show and you helped me with my anxiety. It's just kind of like, oh, like, I guess I did that for a reason. Because to me, I'm just talking to Sarah or Michelle who's doing the interview with me. And I'm like literally just venting. Where I'm like, this has been my week. You can see sometimes in interviews, I'm like super sad or sometimes I'm super upbeat. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've had the worst week ever. Like this, and this. And then I see the clips come on my TikTok For You page after. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't even remember saying that. So it all feels so weird.
What you're saying is honestly incredibly inspiring. I don't know if you know that or not. Because what you're basically saying is that it's okay to be shy and still do a podcast interview. It's okay to deal with anxiety and panic attacks and still go on stage and accept awards in front of, you know, thousands, millions of people, which you're doing. So you're dealing with all these internal struggles and you're still pushing past that and going outside of your comfort zone and doing the actions you need to take to experience the success that you have, right? Because there's two ways of going about it. There's the way that you're doing it, which is incredible and I think responsible for a lot of your success. And of course, having a strong family backbone and great parenting and all that contributes. But there's lots of people that would say, I'm not getting out of this car. right? Like I'm feeling anxious. The principal wants me to go out. I'm sorry, mom, but drive off because I don't want to do this. And so I think you're giving a lot of courage to people out there that might be on the fence of knowing what's going to kind of get them to that next step, but having a hard time overcoming that internal battle. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Just thinking about like moments, I know you've done so many incredible collabs and have launched companies and, you know, done all these awesome things. I'm good friends with actually the founders of Morphe, who I know you've worked with. So Chris and Linda are amazing people. They're great friends of mine. What was a moment of like, was there a certain collab? Maybe it was your cosmetics collab. Was there a certain collab that just felt, oh, this is like it, like I've made it, or this is so exciting?
Yeah, I think when you think of something like the Morphe 2 line, which then led to Born Dreamer, and same thing, the Hollister deal, which then led to Social Tourist.
Right.
It was those original collaborations that the people that we worked with and the creative freedom that they gave us made us want to do the next thing and made the next thing so much more enjoyable for everyone involved. And I think now we can kind of see that it pays off when people listen to creators and what they have to say. I think that there's something so special in that and something so much more genuine, because it's so easy to just hold up a product and be like, I love this, go buy it. It's something else to see, well, I worked with this person in the beginning and then across 2 years, this is where we are now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so refreshing to see that as a consumer, because I've seen it happen with other people that I've just watched as a fan. And those are always the most rewarding. And honestly, they perform the best as well because other people reciprocate the interest that you have in it.
Who were you a fan of growing up? I'm just so curious, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like I was never too much of a fangirl because I literally
Dancers.
lived in a dance studio.
dancers.
So it was just whoever I was watching on YouTube. Who was it? Like Casey Rice, Twitch. There's so many dancers.
Yeah.
Bailey Sock, like all of these people that I was just watching and wanted to dance like them. Lauren Frodeman. It was all of these people that were doing such the Huffs, like, and now getting to work with those same people is like literally insane. But I'm trying to think who's the closest to what I do. Maybe Bethany Moda.
Oh, yeah.
And she had her, I forgot what it was. I don't even remember what store it was in. She had her perfume come out. She did have a perfume. That came out and my sister bought it. And I was like, I was just obsessed with whatever my sister did, honestly. Still am. So,
And I took them to buy her clothes. You were so little, but Dixie was like middle school when Bethany's line came out, and I took them, and Charli was, this will fit, Mom. And she's like this tiny thing. I'm like, okay. But I remember that moment saying, okay, so who is she? I was so confused.
the same
They're
way
like,
people
she
talk
does
about me.
social media. And I'm like, but like what?
Yes.
People just give her a clothing line? Like that doesn't make sense. Because Mark's been in the clothing business like since I've known him. So it just I didn't get it. Now I get it.
Well, I feel like with both of you, like all of these examples, I love that you've been able to also grow the journey, right? Like when you're saying like, we started this, but look at where it's got. I mean, that's extremely mature from a business perspective, from a longevity perspective, from thinking about building something really special and true and authentic. And now you have this big announcement that you're sharing with us about, I'm going to let you make it because, because this is so exciting.
We've never talked
Never
about
talked
it
about
before.
it.
I know, exactly.
I'm so nervous to say it.
I'm gonna let you say it just because this is like, I know this is something that you're just
You've dreamed of.
You should have seen her face when she found out about it.
Oh.
Yeah, this is huge.
I'm pretty sure we have it on video somewhere.
Yeah, I think we do. So part one is I'm going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
This is amazing.
Amazing.
so-
What's better than
Congrats.
that is better than part one. Part one plus is So is Charli.
Oh, I love it.
It's amazing. It's incredible. When we had like just before, we were just like, this is incredible.
I was so
How does it feel? Like, what was the process like? Like, what is that?
Well, so we were in New York City last year for like Fashion Week or something, and we were out to dinner, and we were leaving, and they were playing like some, I don't remember what, some song, and we started like dancing like kind of ballroomish, but not, because I don't know how to do that. And so I posted it and I said, consider this my audition for Dancing with the Stars. And people thought I was on. I was like, no, I was like kidding. But I kept putting it out there. I was like, I don't know. I just kept putting it out into the universe to random people and mostly my family, but a couple other people. And I was like, oh, how does that work? Like, how do they pick people? That would be so cool. And then we got the call. They were like, we need you guys on the phone right now. We were in the middle of something. I think we were filming for our Hulu show. And
Which perfect timing.
and then we like ran upstairs to Mark's office and they were like, we need Heidi and Charli and Mark. And I don't think Dixie was there at the time. And so we were like, I was kind of nervous.
I was like, I'm in trouble.
I thought we were getting canceled, and I didn't know why. So and then
someone was mad at me. I thought my parents were about to take away my phone.
So then they told us, and I was not expecting that.
I was just super surprised. I'm pretty sure my reaction wasn't as good because it was like, I thought it was kind of a joke.
Well, it was brought up when things first started, and then about her being on that. Like there were talks but nothing ever happened. And then COVID happened, and then nothing really happened. And so, but she had gotten excited about it back then. This was like when things first started.
Even before, when I was posting like about Born Dreamer, and it was the stars, the top of the bottle, and I was trying to give hints that I'm coming out with a fragrance, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, she's doing Dancing with the Stars. I was like, guys, no, this is the wrong, no, I promise I'm not, because at this point I genuinely didn't know. So I was like, this is not what it is. But then I found this out, and I was most excited because after doing Step Into the Movies with Derek and Julianne Hough, that night was such an amazing night after filming. I was like crying. I've got videos on my phone. My mom was like, record yourself, remember this moment. So I have like videos on my phone. I was like, this is the best day ever. And getting to do ballroom like that, I've never done it. I've never really done partner dancing. And that was my first little snippet of it. And it's so hard. And you have to think about so many things at one time. So what was going through my head was just,
how am I going to make it through?
How am I going to do that? That was 3 days, 2 days of rehearsal and 1 day of filming, and my body was dead.
No, but you were probably thinking, how's my mom going to do this? I can barely do this.
I feel like she works out way more than I do. She's she eats well, she's in the gym, she stays hydrated.
Mom goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
I watch a lot of TV. So
it's the first mother-daughter competing against
this is
incredible.
massive.
That's huge. That's amazing.
I don't know how I feel about that because I've never been in a position like this. I always, go to watch my kids compete or do whatever, and I'm the biggest cheerleader there. And I think I'm still we'll be competing, but I'm like, yes, whatever. Like I want her to do better than I do.
My thing is more like if we invite Dad and Dixie, are they gonna sit where you're or mine?
I feel like they'll pick.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
We're all a little
competitive.
They'll gamble it. Who's gonna do better?
Who are they betting on?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
They gotta see it first.
Yeah. I'm sure Mark's happy that he's not doing it.
Well, he's been saying to Dixie, oh, you and I will do it next time. And Dixie's like, absolutely not.
It's hard. It's not
you've
easy.
joked around a couple of times where, is my mom going to take away my phone? So what actually happens when you're in trouble, out of curiosity?
Genuinely, well, I mean, I moved out when I was 17. I live on my own now. If my parents I don't do anything. Like that's my thing.
Just don't get in trouble.
If I was like actively like doing super rebellious things where they had to discipline me, I discipline myself. I try my best to, I have high standards for myself and what I know that I should be doing versus not doing. So no one's gonna be harder than I am.
I know.
Everyone listening and watching, this is the best lesson ever.
I mean, she trusts me. I don't think I give you reasons not to trust me.
Sometimes she'll just call, are you mad at me? I'm like, I don't. No, what should I be? I don't know. Why? Oh, I don't know. I just like your text didn't put a heart on it.
It's mostly my dad because he texts whatever, period. And I'm like,
he puts periods.
what are we doing here? This is not, I don't like this. I'll be like, I love you. He's like, I love you, period. I'm like, oh, what does that mean?
Why are you
Like
mad
just
at
the
me?
period,
He
or
voice
he writes
text.
out period.
And so
He voice text.
yeah, and then
okay.
we're in like the three of us are in a group chat, and then the four of us, and then the three of us without her. So she'll text, and then he'll text back like, I love you, period. I'm like, Mark, because we'll be sitting next to each other. I'm like, you cannot do that. Hurry, get that emoji in there because she's FaceTiming you right now. He was like, oh.
I'm sensitive too if I don't get the emoji, by
Yeah.
the way.
Like,
So
I need
totally
to feel
relate.
the reciprocated
Yeah.
love.
The smiley face just like eliminates like all anxiety,
we're all
just makes you
good,
feel
everybody's
comfortable.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. We could literally talk to you all for another hour. This was
know.
amazing. Like, honestly, the vulnerability that you showed up with today, the positive energy, just the amount you let us in and shared from your heart. And then this big announcement that we get to share with the world. Like, we're so excited for both of you.
You
We're
guys
cheering
deserve
you on.
all the success that you guys
you.
have. You're
Thank
such
you.
wonderful
Thanks for having
people.
us. And
Yeah.
I, enjoy you guys' content and always kind of as I'm getting older, like to surround myself with people that kind of have these kind of conversations where like I appreciate you being vulnerable. Like I try to do that with my own kids and with Mark, and then people around me is just like because sometimes you think that stuff and it never comes out, and then the other person never knows. So I learn a lot from you guys. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
very
beautiful. My wife's grandma just passed. And so Wednesday is the funeral. And all she's been telling me is like, take more videos, because that's what's been helping her get through the tough times is all the videos that she has of her grandma. And so when I was visiting my parents last week, I'm just trying to take videos of everything. You guys have a reality show, so maybe things are a little bit more documented, but those cute sentimental moments, I 100% agree. Like those are things that you take for granted that one day you're going to miss. So
For
yeah,
sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Me and all of my friends carry around a little digital camera.
I love that.
And it's so different when you have a phone versus
Yeah.
a camera. And I keep all those of whenever we go out or just hanging out. And that's something really cool that I suggest everyone getting, because that's the best thing ever. And it keeps all your memories in one place.
And
That's
I always
beautiful.
encourage them when they're like, like she was saying earlier with that, after she had danced with Derek and Julianne, like I hadn't seen her with that energy and that alive, doing something that she had been doing for years and hadn't done in a long time. And I was like, go in your room and record, because she was just like, the words were flowing, and she was just like somebody had popped the top off of her creativity again. And it was a beautiful moment. And she was sharing and sharing and sharing. I said, go in your room and record this, because on the days where you're not sure, you're going to want to see that.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
I just
love
found
that.
out she did actually.
That's
do that.
great.
Yeah, I
Wow.
stumbled across them the other day, like ugly crying face. It was like, nice.
Thanks, Mom.
I love that. I love that. Well, we're going to end every episode with a rapid fire. So these have to be really fast
She's
questions,
the worst.
fast
I'm the
answers.
worst.
We're going to get you out of here. We're going to get you out of here. So we're going to make this super fast. Heidi, we're going to start with you. What good qualities did Charli get from you, and what bad qualities did she get from you?
I would like to say she's very thoughtful. I would say is a good quality of hers. She's always thinking of the other person. Bad qualities? Ooh. Do I have any?
I don't know.
I love that.
Probably being late.
Wrong
Wow.
daughter.
How do you ground your daughter when she gets in trouble?
Send her a text without an emoji. That's like doing the more to her than any grounding.
Charli, what was something that you always kept from your mom growing up, like a secret?
I was honestly way more open with my mom than I should have been growing
Oh,
up.
the other way
She knew
around.
every single detail about my life. Sometimes she'd be like, I didn't need to know that. I was like, no, you do. So she knew everything.
Wow, that's amazing.
So this one's also for Charli. So earlier your mom said how she misses cooking and doing the laundry and other things. Is your mom's cooking really that good?
It definitely is that good. And if she wants to bring over food sometime, feel free.
What's your favorite dish that your mom makes?
Either Cajun food. Yeah, definitely Cajun food. Anything like that.
So if you could collaborate with anyone in the world, who would it be?
Honestly, I just want to have like a nice conversation with Rihanna.
I
You know?
love that.
Ooh, good one.
As a businesswoman, I really admire what she's done.
Have you
That's
met her
good.
yet?
I don't believe that I've met her yet, but hopefully one day.
Thank you both so much for coming
guys,
on.
it's been
Thank
amazing.
you so
Thanks for
much.
having us.
Charli and Heidi,
This is
just
awesome.
incredible.